yeah, when you came to the Leafs as a Leaf fan, I was stoked and through the moon about it. Obviously, the Leafs weren't a great team, like you said at the time, and it's unfortunate. But as far as Phil Kessel goes, I want to touch on Phil Kessel quickly because he's on. He's just moved to Vegas. One, what was it like playing with Phil, like the personality and the hockey player? And then what do you think about that fit for Kessel on Vegas?
He is one of the best guys, honestly. He was my roommate in Toronto, and I still remember when I was traded, we were in Boston. I landed in Boston, told the guys I got traded, went to Philly, obviously, or I went to Tampa Bay that night. And then Phil where was he? He got interviewed, I think, in the lobby of the hotel. And I could see it on his face. They're like, how do you feel about the Kris trade? And, and he was just like, I'm not good about it. I lost one of my good friends. And I was like, right then and there, I was like, oh, I love you, Phil. You're a good guy, and me and him roomed together. First 3 quarters of the season, we told jokes, we laughed. We had a great time together. But, that moment when I saw that interview, he could have really said anything and he could have done just something by the book and said whatever, but he said something that was honest and it meant a lot to me. So I'm very thankful for Phil for the friendship. He was, again, the funniest guy. I've told numerous stories. I think you've heard on Spit and Chicklets about him always being like, oh, my eyes, the blind, the sun's coming in, in the morning. Just, it was like constant stuff like that where I'd be like, Phil, stand up and close the blinds. He's like, you close them. And I'd be like, his bed would be right next to the blinds and mine would be near the washroom. Right.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. But it was constant comedy. But at the end of the day, how many games has he played? Right. He's played 17 years.
Unbelievable.
I think he's at 980 something straight right now. Right. So he's about to push the Ironman streak coming into the year.
Yeah. I mean, it's insanity. I couldn't string 100 games together, just with injury and sickness and just everything being scratched later on. Right. There's just so many things. And the fact that he's doing this, and especially Phil, like his body, people have made fun of, or his personality or whatever it may be, the fact that he is just crushing it is amazing. And, it couldn't happen to a better guy.
Yeah. And then, so what are your thoughts on him joining the Golden Knights now?
Oh yeah. The Golden Knights. I think it's interesting. I think the Golden Knights, well, they're a mess, right? Them letting Fleury go, for me, was one of the stupidest moves I've ever seen.
So dumb.
Just stupid. You brought in, again, I don't know Robin Lehner that well. I was with him at a camp. He's a nice guy, but you brought in Lehner, who is, he had one good year for 5.5, and you let Fleury go at 7. And Fleury was still playing up to his pay grade, up to his contract. And he loved being in Vegas. So I just thought they got too greedy at that moment, right? They had 2 goalies. They should have probably kept Fleury. They got greedy, hoping that, Leonard could do what Fleury does. And obviously that hasn't come fruition yet. And he's had injuries, so it's not Robin Lehner's fault as well. But you had the guy there, right? You had this guy. And I think that's where the downfall of the Vegas Golden Knights is technically gone, is in that goalie crease. Now you look at them this year, there's Thompson. So now when you look at Phil, I think he's going to help. I think he's going to add depth. I think he's going to be a little reinvigorated. He's going to have excitement to come to the rink every day, where in Arizona, you're like, geez, let this game end. 5 minutes into the game, he's probably like, get me out of here. It's horrible. That's what I'm almost certain that's what it was like. And, now you go to Vegas, they have a good team. You hope that energy comes back to the city. It's an incredible city. But I mean, how many goals does Phil have to score to help the goaltending out? I don't know. So if the goalies are good, if they're good enough, that team can make the playoffs. But if the goalies aren't good, you're going to see another season like this.
Man, I really hope they throw Kessel on that power play with Eichel, Stone, Petrangelo. That would be unreal.
Yeah,